Guardian. Unfortunately, you've had a few injuries this season. Because of that, how are you feeling? Are you feeling sort of fresh for this final phase of the campaign?
Evening. Yeah, you know, the injuries is, in the end, it is what it is. I had two. It's not nice, but it's part of football. I've been really fortunate in my career until now with all the injuries, but I feel okay. You know, I don't know if I feel more fresh than I was before, because sometimes it's also nice to be in a flow when you're in the season, and if you're on a good flow and you're playing well, you can just keep on going. Something like that was my feeling last year, because I played that many games. I just keep on going, and now it was a little bit difficult in the beginning because 6 months is a long time to come back, but I feel better and better, and I think I'm performing better than I was in the beginning after my injury. So I'm happy with that.
Hi Kevin, Sam Lee from goal.com. Sorry to dwell on the only defeat of the year, given you've won every other game. But the Newcastle game fascinates me. I think a couple of weeks ago Pep said the players looked at themselves in the mirror afterwards, or everybody did. What changed after that game, if anything, do you think?
I don't think that a lot changed, you know. At the day we were just not good enough. And sometimes you have to look at yourself, and you see like the way I performed today was not good enough individually as a team. And in the end, it's always about the reaction after you lose a game. And I think in the last years, the reaction has always been good. But we had really tough games, and we showed that we were still fighting to win the league. And I think that's always the main point is the reaction we showed. You know, at the day I can't say a lot of it because we were just not good enough, and sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself and just tell the truth.
Hello Kevin, Stuart Brenner, Manchester Evening News. In the Champions League, you've been sweeping everybody before you in England, but in the Champions League, you've won 5 and lost 5 for the last 11. Do you think that's good enough? And if not, why do you think you perhaps have underperformed a little bit in Europe?
Well, I think, first of all, I think the level of Champions League is still a little bit higher than it is in the Premier League. That's why only the best teams play in it. Second, in the end, it doesn't really matter how many games you lose. If you win the last one, you can win every game until the final and lose it, and you're still not going to be happy. But yeah, obviously we want to win the most games as possible. But in the end, it's all about winning the trophy and try to perform the best you can. Obviously, if we want to win more than we want to lose, but that's the record we have until now, and hopefully we can just make it better.
Kevin, with every week that passes, you seem to progress in another competition. You become a step closer to the quadruple. It's being talked about as an impossible dream, but how is it from a playing point of view? Is it an impossible dream, or do you have to believe you can win every game and win every competition?
Well, I think the goal is not to win the 4 competitions. You know, the goal is to win every game, and the further you progress, obviously, like if you play on Sunday the game like Chelsea, you want to win the game, and then if you win the game, you win the competition. But you cannot set the standards like in the beginning of the year we're going to win 4 leagues. I think we're very happy where we are, but obviously we want to progress in every round that we're playing in, and that's now the Champions League. We want to do well and go to the quarterfinals, so we're one step closer to winning it. But yeah, to set standards to win all 4, that's nearly impossible.
Hi Kevin, John Murray from the BBC. When you talk about being in the flow, you know, being at your best, could you maybe talk in a bit more detail about the sort of things that happen to you on the field and you think, yeah, I'm there now?
Well, I think when you're in that flow, you don't even have to think about it. It just, everything comes natural. When you come back from injury, you try to do the same that you did before, but you're not quick enough, so you need to think quicker, you need the movement is quicker. It just comes all natural because you're in an optimal physical and mentally conditioned to play these games, and that's not what you are when you're injured, and I think that's the difference between these two.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. James Robson, Standard. You've obviously had to watch a lot of City this season because you've not been playing. How do you assess this City team this season to the one you played in last season? Are the standards just as high, do you think, or have they slipped just slightly?
I think it's the same. You know, obviously, in the league we lost a few more games than we did last year, but in the rest we're still fighting on all fronts. You know, I think other teams figure out what we do maybe a little bit better. They have maybe also better squads. We added one player, but for the rest is the same team. I think the way we play is always going to be the same with Pep. We're not going to change that. Everybody knows that. So, yeah, in the end, I don't think there's a lot of difference. We have a lot of points in the league also. So I think the standard we still are setting this year is very high. Maybe not the same heights in the league that we had last year, but maybe we win more this year in titles. So that it's difficult to say. In the end, the most important thing are the titles. So if we win 3 titles, we will did better than last year.
Hi, Kevin. Paul Hurst from The Times. You said then that other teams maybe have started to sort of anticipate how we are going to play. How do you, as a team, get around that, overcome that problem?
Well, we do also different things. We have main guidelines for what we always do, but obviously we also adapt it sometimes to other teams and try to do different things. And we also know if teams do other things that we're going to try something else because the spaces or the openings are going to be in a different way today. But yeah, in the end we try to adapt and try to dominate the games that we like to do. But in the end, sometimes also a game that is more difficult, you need to win it in another way. We try to do that also.
Last question for Kevin, just here, please. Jack.
Hi, Kevin. Jack Gorham from the Mail. Talking about kind of the standards you set in, I just wonder what progression would look like for you this year. What would progress you from what you achieved last year?
Yeah, it's very difficult because I think as a football player you want to have your personal goals where maybe you play more, maybe you want to score more, assist more. You have your team goals where you want to do better as a team and win more. For some players maybe win something different. It depends how you look at it. In the end, I think the team wants to win the most titles as possible, do as well as possible, but everybody has his own little standards by that, and obviously I think the team standards are the most important, and what you can get individually is a bonus in the end of the year.